Today is Monday, August 19th. We're talking about the thousands of politicians, delegates, and protesters coming together in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention starting today. Also, millions of Americans on the East Coast are facing new severe weather threats, plus a high-tech plan to make highways safer, a warning about popular chicken products, and how to see a rare super blue moon tonight. Those stories and even more news to know next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Starting today, the most prominent Democrats in America are getting together to support Vice President Kamala Harris. The Democratic National Convention is set to kick off in Chicago. More than 4,000 delegates will be there to recognize Harris as the Democratic presidential nominee and approve the party's platform. And that platform includes raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour, raising the corporate tax rate, ramping up clean energy projects, codifying abortion protections, banning assault weapons, securing the U.S.-Mexico border, and more. Typically, the convention also includes a formal roll call vote. But remember, this year, the DNC did a virtual roll call earlier this month, so the roll call at the actual convention will be ceremonial. Today, speakers include President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden. Then it's former President Barack Obama tomorrow and former President Bill Clinton Wednesday. The highlight should come on Thursday when Harris herself takes the stage to accept the nomination. Outside the DNC, thousands of protesters are expected to rally for causes they believe in. Today, about 200 social justice organizations plan to protest the Biden administration's continued support of Israel during the war in Gaza. At least 20,000 activists are at least expected for this one, and different protests are planned for each day of the convention. Some House lawmakers have said they're worried about their safety, but the Secret Service says it's ready and has been coordinating with all levels of law enforcement agencies to prepare. While Vice President Harris and the rest of the Democrats take their turn focusing on their party's convention, former President Trump will continue campaigning in key battleground states. The Trump team says he'll focus on several key issues like the economy, crime, national security, and immigration this week. Of course, with just 11 weeks until the election, Trump has been doing plenty of that already. At a rally in Pennsylvania yesterday, his prepared remarks were about the economy, blaming Harris for inflation. He also predicted financial ruin for the U.S. if Harris were to win in November, pointing to her past opposition to fracking, among other things. The former president also got personal when he went off script, including 3 times yesterday when he said he was better looking than Harris. He also claimed President Biden hates her and did his own impression of him. Just one day earlier, Vice President Harris laid out her own economic vision. She promised to build more affordable housing, cut healthcare costs, and slash taxes for middle-income families. Harris also spoke about a new child tax credit for as much as $6,000 for families with babies and a $25,000 subsidy for first-time homebuyers. Trump has said her plans will make inflation worse, though Harris says the same thing about Trump's plan to impose new tariffs on imports. Economists are actually pretty mixed, too, as to who has the better vision for America's financial future. But both candidates have said they'll explain more about their economic plans in the coming weeks. Hurricane Ernesto is still churning in the Atlantic Ocean. And even though it's not expected to make landfall in the U.S., it's been causing dangerous conditions for millions of Americans. The National Hurricane Center is warning of life-threatening surf and rip currents along the entire East Coast from Maine to Florida over the next few days. It warns these conditions can sweep even the best swimmers away from the shore into deeper water. Sadly, rip currents have already been blamed for at least 3 deaths off the Carolinas over the weekend. Dozens of other people had to be rescued from the water, and some beachside homes were even swept into the ocean. Before Ernesto started impacting the East Coast, it hit Bermuda. Thankfully, things were not as bad as meteorologists expected, but the storm still left nearly 3/4 of people on the island without power. Ernesto is the 5th named storm and 3rd hurricane of this season, which hasn't peaked quite yet. The Atlantic hurricane season usually reaches its peak from late August through the end of September. New technology that aims to prevent thousands of highway tragedies just got a boost from the Department of Transportation. V2X, which stands for Vehicles to Everything, allows cars to talk to each other while driving. The idea is to equip cars, trucks, and even parts of a highway or intersection with technology that shares real-time information like speed, distance, and road conditions. The DOT says V2X could be crucial to reducing crashes. It's actually been around for years, but implementing it has been difficult and expensive. There have been some concerns about costs and how to protect connected vehicles from cyber attacks. But now, safety advocates say it's time to find those answers. The DOT's new plan aims to speed up the process and provide funding for a nationwide rollout. By 2028, the agency hopes to have 20% of highways and 25% of intersections V2X capable. And by 2036, it aims to have V2X on most vehicles, roads, and intersections. The hope is that technology can lower traffic congestion and make things safer for cyclists and pedestrians. As the DOT put it, quote, "The only acceptable number of roadway deaths is 0. All right, we have much more news for you coming up. But first, a quick break to thank our sponsor, Quince. Shifting my wardrobe from summer to fall is always a challenge. Luckily, Quince makes it easy by offering timeless and high-quality items I adore, ensuring my wardrobe stays fresh and I don't blow my budget. Think washable silk tops, cashmere sweaters from $50, and so much more. I love my washable silk tank so I can feel fancy without having to worry about ruining it after just one wear or having to deal with the dry cleaner. And I have this great linen blazer from Quince that is perfect over that tank or so many other items in my closet. And I love having great layering options for that summer to fall transition time. The best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes those savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. I love that. Make switching seasons a breeze with Quince's high-quality closet essentials. Go to quince.com/newsworthy for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/newsworthy to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to the news. Anyone looking to buy or sell a house has new rules to navigate now. New regulations went into effect over the weekend. They apply to agent commissions and come as part of a $418 million deal to settle an antitrust lawsuit against the National Association of Realtors. One of the big takeaways, commissions will no longer have to be paid entirely by a home seller. In the past, sellers had to pay a commission fee to their listing agent, usually a percentage of the sale price. That listing agent would then give some of that money to the buyer's agent after the house was sold. But under that system, some buyer's agents would apparently just search for houses based on how much they'd get paid. And critics said they would skip over showing homes that would work well for their clients solely because of the commission rates. Now, agents will no longer be allowed to advertise commission fees. The other big change comes on the buyer's side. Potential home buyers must now sign a written agreement, complete with details about commission, with an agent before they see houses together. In some cases, this means if sellers don't agree to pay the agent's commission, the buyer could be on the hook. The agreement should also let buyers know the commissions are negotiable. Supporters of the new rules say they make fees more transparent for buyers, sellers, and realtors. But some critics worry that more paperwork and buyers potentially having to pay the realtors' commissions could negatively impact the housing market. Though for now, it's not clear if the cost of buying and selling homes will immediately change based on this rule alone. Analysts expect mortgage rates will have a bigger impact. A major chicken producer has recalled more than 167,000 pounds of nuggets. Purdue Farms issued a voluntary recall after some customers found metal wire in their chicken. The recalled products are frozen breaded chicken breast tenders and nuggets, some under that Purdue brand name, others sold by ButcherBox. They all have the same best if used by date, March 23, 2025. The problem is some customers complained about metal in their chicken. Purdue looked into it and found a very thin strand of metal wire accidentally got in these during the manufacturing process. No injuries or negative reactions have been reported so far, but Purdue says it issued the recall out of an abundance of caution. If you have any of the recalled chicken in your freezer, you're asked to either throw it away or return it. Purdue is offering full refunds. We have more information about this in today's episode notes. A woman was arrested for trying to steal millions of dollars from Elvis Presley's family and take over his Graceland estate. This all started when a company without any records or evidence that it even existed claimed Elvis's daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, owed a huge amount of money and offered Graceland as collateral. Once Lisa Marie Presley died, the company tried to get money from her family. And when the family refused to pay, it attempted to force a foreclosure sale of Graceland. Well, prosecutors now say a woman in Missouri, Lisa Janine Finley, was behind this all and that she went to extreme lengths to carry out her fraud, not only in creating the fake company, but also forging signatures, filing false documents in court, and more. Finley was charged with mail fraud and aggravated identity theft. She has a history of scamming too, and has gone by at least half a dozen other names. So far, Finley and her lawyer have not responded to these charges. If she's convicted, she could face 2 to 20 years in prison. Tonight's full moon will be a rare super blue moon. That means it's both a supermoon and a blue moon. So supermoons happen when the moon's orbit takes it closer to Earth than usual, so it might look a bit bigger and brighter in the sky. Blue moons happen when there are 2 full moons in the same calendar month, or 4 full moons in a season. Since tonight will be the 3rd of 4 full moons this summer, and the moon is closer than usual, we get what's called a super blue moon. The moon itself will not appear blue, but it might still be an impressive spectacle. NASA says even a pair of handheld binoculars will give you a detailed view of craters and mountain ridges on the moon's surface. Sky gazers who want to catch a glimpse of the peak super blue moon should make sure they get out tonight, though the moon will appear full through Wednesday. NASA says this cosmic coincidence won't happen again until 2037. That's it for the main news, so now it's time for Money Monday, when we talk about one interesting money-related news story. But first, this episode is brought to you by SKIMS. It's so nice to have a few go-to versatile pieces in my closet, and my SKIMS Soft Lounge long slip dress is one of them. It's so easy to throw on, and I can dress it up with heels or down with flip-flops or sneakers. And no matter what, it makes me feel cute and comfortable anywhere. And speaking of the SKIMS Soft Lounge collection, I'm also in love with my SKIMS Soft Lounge sleep set. I feel so much better putting it on after a long or hectic day. 1, because having a matching sleep set just feels like I'm living my best life. And 2, this sleep set is the softest fabric. It's so cozy. In fact, I'm always impressed with the feel and fit of everything I've gotten from SKIMS, and this Soft Lounge collection is no exception. Shop the SKIMS Soft Lounge collection at skims.com. Now available in sizes extra, extra small to 4X. And if you haven't yet, be sure to let them know I sent you. After you place your order, select The Newsworthy in the survey and select my show in the drop-down menu that follows. Okay, now back to Money Monday. Summer heat is not just uncomfortable, it's expensive. In a recent AP poll, 70% of people reported high temperatures have impacted their electric bills. The U.S. Energy Information Administration expected as much, saying bills are up about 17% as compared to 2021. And now the average electric bill is about $173 a month during the summer. Granted, that's not just because rising temperatures have people cranking up their ACs more, but also because natural gas prices spiked, in part due to overseas conflicts. And utilities are investing money to strengthen the electric grid and passing those costs along to their customers. No matter what the reason, the added costs put more pressure on people to choose how they spend their money. The U.S. Census Bureau found around a quarter of American families have avoided buying food or medicine in order to pay an energy bill. There are ways to save on utility bills, though. Experts recommend getting an electricity audit, changing your air filters regularly, turning down your water heater, unplugging whatever electronics you're not using, and so on. All right, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing the show. Of course, we'll be back with even more news to know tomorrow. For now, have a great day.